Hey guys, I'm Steph from rockytems.com, and in this tutorial we will learn how to create a contact map, a very nice contact map for your site. So if you already have the theme demo installed for the Creativo and the business template installed, you should already have a contact map, a contact page, that looks something like this. You have a Google map at the top, followed by some content which you can change with your own content, and at the bottom of the page you have a contact form. Now this is a very generic and basic contact page. This info here, the Google map, is actually generated based on the info you enter when you edit this page. I will show you how to do that in a few seconds. Okay, also the email to which this form is submitted is controlled as well on the same location as this Google map. Right, so let's go ahead and edit this page by clicking edit page button at the top. Okay, so we have a title, we have here some text which you can change by default. You have just a lorem ipsum generated text. A very important aspect is that for this type of page to generate that Google map at the top of your page, you will have to use the contact us template. So under page attributes template, make sure you have contact us selected. Right, so this is one of the version. You will see that in the latest update of the theme, we will have more control over this contact page, but at the moment I'm just going to show you how to make use of the default contact settings. Right, so as I told you in the beginning of this tutorial, the Google map is generated based on some info, and that info can be located at the bottom of your page, the contact us box located here, which allows you to enter an email address and of course the Google map address. So by default you will have this address for your contact map, contact page, you can change this with your own address. Also remember to use your own email address here. And you can also set different zoom level. Higher values means that the Google map will zoom in more, right? So you can see here a very important message telling us that this functionality here has been deprecated, and you should go to theme options, contact us instead. So I'm just going to change this address here so you can see what happens. I'm going to use something like this. It's just a random address. I'm also going to change the zoom level to zoom out more. Okay. The content, I will not change this. I'm just going to click update. I want to view the page in a new tab. And as you can see now, we have a new Google map generated, which is now using the new location that we entered when editing that page. Okay, you can see that also the page was using the zoom level that we specified in the same location. Now, this kind of page is a very basic one. You don't have much control over your Google map. You don't have any control over your form. So that's why we changed this to something new, completely new. I'm going to show you exactly what the new settings are. So go to Appearance, Theme Options. I'm just going to leave this page, the contact page. Okay, so let's go to contact options. Okay, So by default, you can see here the first setting is called Google Map template. Use the old style. Old style means that your contact us template will be using this type of layout with a Google Map at the top, the content at the middle, and the form at the bottom. Right. Now I want to switch to use the new style. And you can see here we have more options to play with. Okay, you can choose the Google Map type, roadmap, satellite, hybrid, and terrain. Okay, you have the Google Map style, which by default is default, but you have other styles as well. Let's select like Dream. You will see exactly what this means. Actually, let's leave default so you can see the differences between default and any other map style that we will be using. Okay, you can specify here your Google Map width. By default, we'll be using the percent value. 100% means that your map will be covering the entire space of your browser width, right? You can specify here the map height, 400. I'm going to change this to maybe to 500. You have Google Map pop-up title. I'm going to leave this as they are because you'll soon understand what these settings do. Now we have here the Google Map address. Remember that this is one of the most important settings for your Google Map. So always enter a map address here. I'm going to use this one here. Okay, without the dot. You have a Google Map email address, a phone number. By default, you can delete them if you don't want to use them. You can specify here the zoom level. Let's leave 16 by default. And at the bottom, you have some options to control the settings of your Google Map. So you can enable the scroll wheel, the zoom, pan controls, map type, and the street view. Let's leave them as they are. I'm going to save all changes now. Right, so if you go back to your page, I'm just going to copy and open the same page in a new tab. Okay, now you can see that the new page actually is the same page, but it's using the new layout for the Google Map. You can see that now we have a pop-up message here with the exact info that we can specify in this area here. So we are using a 500 pixel height for the map. We have a title here for the Google Map pop-up box, so we can change this to maybe our business rocks. You can change this message as well, blah blah blah, or simply get rid of it. Okay, you can change the phone number or delete it. The zoom level, let's zoom out a bit. Now if you go back, you can see that you have many types of controls here, like the type of the map. Okay, you can see, you can scroll out if you want. You have the street view option here. So if you go back, you can disable the scroll wheel, you can disable the map and zoom controls, the street view. Any of the settings can be disabled. I'm just going to leave this one here turned on. Save all changes. Go back to your page, hit refresh. Now you can see that we have this pop-up box has been updated with our new message, new title. Sorry, the message has been deleted. Okay. Now, if you take a look at the default Google Map that was generated for the old style, you see that we also have a form. In the new layout, we don't have that form anymore, and that's good because we can create our own custom forms for this contact page. Okay, we can add any type of content we want here. Okay, So another thing I want to show you is changing the Google Map style. So I'm just going to select Pale Dawn, for instance, save all changes, go back to your site, hit refresh. You can see that the design of this page has been updated based on the selection that we made here. We have some very nice settings and layouts we can use for the map style. You also have the option to use your own style, select custom, and make sure you go to snazzymaps.com. Open this in a new window, and you have here all type of generated map styles which you can use. For instance, if you want to use this dark layout, okay, all you have to do is go here. You don't care about this code at all. You can just click on copy, go back, paste, save all changes, go back to your page, hit refresh, and you can see that we have the same style that was generated here. So just remember to go to snazzymaps.com. This is a very, very interesting site which you can use to create your own styles for the Google Maps. Okay. Now let's go ahead and create a form, because we want our contact site or contact page to have contact form. So go to contact forms, and let's create a new form. Add new. I'm giving here a title, contact us form. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like this. You can go to mail tab. Remember to use your own email address here, like this one. Okay, you can customize the text and the info you have here based on the fields you enter here. Right, so I'm just going to click on save. Okay, go back to my page. I'm going to edit this page. I can delete this section here, and I can just enable the Visual Composer, the backend or the front end. I'm going to use the backend. Click on Add Element and use Contact Form 7 here. Okay, you can select here the contact form, which we at the moment we have two contact forms. I'm going to select this one. You can change the style. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Save changes, click Update. Okay, this is the old design. If I'm going to refresh this page, you'll see the new design in action. Okay, so we have our map at the top, and we have the contact form at the bottom. Okay, so this is very useful because we can play around with this form any way we want. We can add more fields here. Okay, we can create different layouts. For instance, maybe I want to use a 2-column layout, something like this. I can add here a nice title. I'm going to use the box title element, something like contact info. I don't want to use the force uppercase. I want a black color for the title, font size. I think this is too much, 25 will do. Okay, I want to align it to the left. Save changes, click Update. Go back, hit refresh. And now you can see that we have a 2-column layout for our site. Basically, we can add our own info here, and we have the contact form to the right. Let's enable the Visual Composer. Okay, this is the front-end Visual Composer, which allows you to make changes in real life mode. So I want to use, okay, play around with these settings more. Right, I'm going to duplicate this title. After that, I'm just going to drag and drop it above this form, and I'm going to change this one to something like get in touch. Okay. Now below this box title, I want to add some content. So I'm going to use the text block. I'm just going to paste here a default text, or a text that it's actually giving you a few pointers on how to change this settings on this page, the settings on this page. Right. I'm going to clone this text block element and drag and drop it to the right column. I'm going to edit this element here, and I'm going to paste a new text. Okay, now we want to add some spacing between these two elements here. So the best way to do that is by adding this element here, the separator. I'm going to use the default one. Okay, so by default you can see that it's nothing else but a dot line, because this is the style that it's selected by default. So I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. I'm just going to enter a padding top of 10 pixels and a padding button of 10 pixels. Okay, what this does is it creates a spacing above and below this dot line. But I can select here the blank because I don't want to see anything. Okay, so this is a blank style. I'm going to drag and drop it below the text block. Okay, so now you can see we have a nice spacing between the text and the actual contact form. Okay, let's add here some more elements. For instance, I can add maybe a product feature element. Okay, let's type in something like office location. Okay, let's go maybe with a bigger title. Now we can use here an image icon if you want to add an icon for this product feature element, or we can use a font icon, sorry, not an image icon. You can use an image icon above, or you can use a font icon below. So if no image icon is being used, the font icon will be used. So by default we have font awesome, open iconic, type icons, and typo and line icons. Line icons, sorry. So I'm going to use simply the font awesome. I want to change this icon to something else. Okay, I'm going to use this. Okay, this love symbol. All right, let's leave them as they are. You can reach us at the following address, and I can add something like this. Okay, as you can see here, we need some more spacing, so I can either add the same separator element that we have here, or we can just clone this one and drag and drop one of them here. So we have a nice spacing between the text and the product feature element. Okay, you can play around with the settings even more. You can add more elements like this one. I'm just going to clone this element a few times. So Remember to change the content with your own content here. Another thing that I want to do is play around with the contact form settings. So go here, actually not settings, but the style. I'm going to select custom. So by default, you know what, let's leave it like this. I want to do something else before doing this. I'm going to update the page. Okay, click on the X button here so you can see the page in real life mode. Okay, so we have the contact form to the right, and we have the content, the contact info to the left. Right. Let's go back to our contact form here, and I want to do some changes. For instance, I only want to have the actual fields, contact fields. I don't want this your name, your email. Instead, I want this text to appear on the actual text field for each individual section here. So go back to your contact form and simply delete all the text that you see there, and make sure you only leave the these shortcodes. Okay. Nothing else. No break row, no paragraph tag, nothing. We don't need them. Okay, so we have the text, email, subject, message, and send. I can actually delete this subject. I don't need it. So here I'm going to use the double quotes, and I'm going to enter simply name, email, and your message here. Click save. Now the form has been updated. If you go back to our page and click refresh, you can see that now our form looks a lot better. It's more compact, which I like more. We have the name, email, and message here. So you will have to select it and enter your name, John Doe, enter the email, your email at email.com, and your message here. Some tips, something like that, and click on send. Because I'm running on a local host installation, this form will not function correctly. Basically, the sending email will not work at all. Anyway, I just entered some default values for you to understand how this form works, right? Now I'm going to play around with the design of this form here, so make sure you edit this page with Visual Composer. Okay, scroll down, and I want to play with the design of this contact form even more. I'm going to select custom for the style. Now you have here the option to change the input field font size, the label font size. Play around with these settings. This is the actual input padding, so by default it's 10. You can change this to maybe 20, and you can see that the spacing inside this form has been updated and increased. You can specify here a fixed height for your text areas. For instance, I can maybe use 200. Oh, sorry, forgot px. Okay. Right. You can change here the label color, the input fields background color. So label color, if I'm going to select green. Okay, we don't have any labels. The labels were the actual text that appeared above this each text field that we were using. So this option here will be ignored. Instead, we can actually use the input fields text color. So if you want to go here and select blue, you can see that we have this color updated. So I'm going to maybe select the red. So users know that they need to enter this field. You can change the text color on focus. Focus means that when you click on the actual field, you can see that the color of the text here changes. You can use your own color. Maybe I want to use the blue. Okay, I can also change the border color on focus. So I'm going to use this blue. Now you can see that both the text and the border are being updated based on the setting that we have here. You can change the border width of the input fields. Okay, I can change the default color for the border. Maybe I want to use, I don't know, the same red. Wow, okay. I'm going to leave 1 pixel. Okay, this is a nice feature, which it's called disable input fields borders. So if maybe you don't want to use any border at all except for the bottom or the left, I can have something like this, and you can see that we don't have any borders anymore. Okay, so this is a nice feature. Some of you might use it. Right, you can also change the background color of the input field. So by default that's a white. You can use maybe yellow. For some reason, I'm going to deselect these options here. You can change the background color on focus. So maybe I want to use the same blue. Save changes. Now, when you do this, you can see that because the text has been is also using the blue color, you cannot see it. So I'm going to use maybe a white color. Okay. So you'll have to basically experience all these options here. The last set of options are related to the send button. So I can even make this button to be full width. Okay, looks nice. Okay, you can play around with the padding, you can play around with the spacing. You can basically change everything for this button except for the text. Remember that the text of the button is controlled on your actual contact form. Okay, so I'm just going to change the color quickly. Submit button background color blue. Color on hover, I want to use the red. Border color, I don't care. I'm just going to leave them as they are. Text color, I want to use a yellow. And on hover effect, I want to use, I don't know, maybe black. Save changes, and you can see that the button has been updated correctly. Okay. So you will have to play around with the settings here to create any style you want for your contact form. Okay. So this is pretty much everything that you can use to create any type of page that you want. I'm going to update the page with this, even with this ugly looking contact form. It's okay. You got the picture. You know how to edit this element here. So if I'm going to click on this X, okay, we have the contact form, we have the Google Map at the top. Now, what happens if we don't want to have this Google Map placed on top of your page? And for instance, we want to add this Google Map at the bottom or in any other location. Well, in this case, we will have to edit this page. Let me close down a few of the tabs. So click on edit page, and you will have to change the template from contact us to full width. Okay, click update, and let's view our page. As you can see, we only have our 2 columns here with the info we added, but the Google Map has been removed. Okay, let's enable the Visual Composer, and I'm going to show you something which you can use for your contact page, sorry. One thing I want to do is actually change the top padding, because I want to have more spacing at the top. Okay. Now let's say that we want to add the Google Map element, the Google Map to the bottom. So I'm just going to click on that big plus sign, and I'm going to use the Google Maps advanced element. Okay, which basically does the same thing as the contact us template, with the difference that you can basically paste and add this element anywhere on your pages. So you can still enter your title here, short message. You can use box width. This option here actually controls the width of this pop-up box. You have the address here, the map style. Again, you can select the same layouts that you have in the contact options. Okay, I'm going to use light monochrome, save changes. Now you can see that this map has been updated with our new settings. Okay, so you have placed this at the bottom. You can also enable the full width option by editing this row element, and for the layout width, select wide. Okay, as you can see now, we'll have to update the page. Don't worry about this. Okay, let's close and see how our page looks like now. And as you can see, we have our Google Map at the bottom. You can actually do even more changes for this page. For instance, let's add a new row element. And I want to drag this element to the top. Okay. I want to add all the items that we have here. The title, okay, the text block, and I also want to do another thing. I want to add a new row element inside this row element. This is possible. You can see that now this is called the inner row, and I want to use a 3-column layout. Click update, and I want to place each of these product feature elements here. Right, and I'm going to drag and drop this Google Map element into this location here. Okay, let's play around with this map even more. I want to have a bigger height, something like that maybe. Oh, sorry, I changed the wrong setting. This is the setting I want to use. Okay, so now we have the contact form to the right, we have the Google Map to the left. I'm going to add the same title that we have here, same element, but I'm going to use the maybe location for the title. Save changes. Okay, still not. Let's try 45. Or 40. Okay, so now this one looks a lot better. Click update, so you can see that now we changed our site to have a nice title here. Then we have the map in the left column and the get in touch form to the right column. Of course, you can add some spacing here. You can actually remove this page title area. So let's edit the page. Scroll down to the bottom, and for the page title section, you have here the option show page title and breadcrumb section. So I'm just going to select no, click update. You can see the layout that we created with the front-end editor existing here. I'm going to delete this last row element, I don't need it. Update. And let's view our page. Okay, something that I don't like here is that we don't have enough spacing on the top and no spacing between these two elements. So I'm going to enable the Visual Composer. And I'm going to edit this row element. Go to Design Options and maybe enter here 40. This will add 40 pixels padding to the top. Okay, and for this row element, again, I'm going to edit it, Design Options, and for the padding, again, I'm going to use 40. It's always a good idea to use the same padding for all your row elements. Okay, I'm going to edit the last row element, and I'm going to add a bottom padding of 40 and change this to 40 as well. Okay, click update. You can also change this product feature element to be positioned on center instead of left. Okay. Sorry. Center. And center as well. Remember to change the content with your own content here. This is just for showcase only. Okay, successfully updated. So this is how our page looks like now. Okay, you can change around, play with this Google Map element. You have tons of options which you can use. You can customize the contact forms you create. So it's up to you to create beautiful styled contact pages. And I hope this tutorial really explained how you can use all the possible options for you to create the best contact page for your site. Okay, so I hope you enjoy watching this tutorial, and see you next time.